3.5. Perform basic. I can't spell clearly. Perform basic matrix operations. So matrices can only be added, subtracted, and that's where I'm going to leave that, if they are the same dimensions, okay, m rows by n columns. If they are different, it's not possible. Elements, if you have two matrices that are equal to each other, one's in corresponding positions, are equal within that. We add and subtract within each position, so you'll see what that means when we do examples. And then scalar multiplications, if it's a number times a matrix, it gets multiplied by each position within the matrix. So the first problems for adding and subtracting, it says just to perform the indicated operation. If it's not possible, state why, which most of the time is going to be because the dimensions aren't the same. So number 4, we have the matrix, and I will always read them going across left to right and then going down to the next row. So 5, 2, -1, 8, plus the next matrix, -8, 10, -6, 3. So these are both 2 by 2 matrices. They have the same dimensions, so I'm good to go. So I add across each position. So the result is going to also be a 2 by 2 matrix. 5 plus -8, so that's going to be -3 in the top left position. 2 plus 10, top right position is 12. Like, what in the world? -1 plus -6 is -7 in the bottom left. Then 8 plus 3, bottom right, is 11. So, pretty easy, right? Not too bad.
It's just adding. Okay.
Yes. This section, piece of cake. It will get a little harder in the sections as we go, but I still think it's fun. 6, we have the matrix 4, -5, 8, 1, minus the matrix 2, -1. So my first matrix is 2 rows, 2 columns, so it's a 2 by 2. The second matrix is 2 rows, 1 column. So this is a 2 by 1. Because these are not the same, it is not possible. So I cannot subtract those because they are not the same dimensions. If I had, nine, I don't normally do odd ones, but I want to do another example. So 9, it is 7, -3, 12, 5, -4, 11. Minus the next matrix 9, 2, -2, 6, 6, 5. So what are the dimensions on this matrix?
3 by 2.
Yep, 3 by 2, and this one is
3 by 2.
3 by 2. So when they are clearly the same, you don't really need to write it underneath when they were different. I used that as kind of part of my explanation for why it wasn't possible. For some reason, the subtraction problems people tend to end up having problems with because they forget to subtract, especially when they're subtracting a negative. So we will have a resulting 3 by 2 matrix. So it'll be 7 minus 9, which is negative 2. Negative 3 minus 2, negative 5. 12 minus negative 2, so that's plus 2, so that's 14. 5 minus 6, that's negative 1. Negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10. And 11 minus 5 is 6.
So you always do columns, or you do rows first, then columns. Right, putting the 3 by 2 in the...
Are you saying to say that it's 3 by 2?
Yes.
Yes. But I can do these in whatever order. I could have done this one first if I wanted to.
No, I'm talking about...
I just, yeah. That's why I was like, wait a second, let me see what she's asking, cause alright, now the next thing we do is multiplying by a scalar. So that's just a number out front of whatever the matrix is, and we just multiply it by every position inside of it. So number 10, we've got 2, and then negative 1, 4, 3, negative 6.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait today.
So with this, again, our resultant is still going to be a 2 by 2. So I'm just multiplying 2 by everything inside of here. So that's going to be negative 2, 8, 6, and negative 12. Now, sometimes they might give you a fraction out front, like 14, 1/2, and then negative 2, 8, 12, 20, negative 1, 0, negative 8, 10, 2. And so, works the same way. Always reduce, so don't tell me it's like negative 2 over 2. Like, write that as negative 1. So, negative 1, 4, 6, 10, negative 1/2, 0, negative 4, 5, and 1.
This is going. What is like the point of a matrix?
Ultimately, they're going to help us solve the equations that you just had to do by hand on the last quiz.
Oh, okay.
They have other
Oh.
benefits, but we'll solve them a different way. And it's with your calculator, so it makes it way easier. But there's other things they can be used for, but typically it's solving equations when you have unknowns. All right, 15, so again, another odd one, but negative 2.2 times the matrix 6, 3.1, 4.5, negative 1, 0, 2.5, 5.5, negative 1.8, and 6.4. So who wants to do this one?
Are you good? No, I can do it.
That's right.
Without a calculator. What are you doing?
I'll do the third column.
I'm just kidding. Get out your calculator. I'm going to show you how to do a matrix on your calculator.
Thank God. That's the thing. Oh, my calculator.
I thought you were
That's
being
the
so
thing.
serious.
Yeah, I thought you. I was like, terrible.
I'm going to intro it to you now, okay? This would be a part of a quiz or test where you would not be allowed to use one, though. Not this question, but the other questions we've done, because you should be able to do that without a calculator, okay? But your calculator is a great tool that you can use. So If you see above the x to the negative 1 over here, there is the word matrix. So hit second. Oh, turn it on first. Second, and then that x to the negative 1 is going to bring up matrix. The first thing it brings up is names, which is just all the different matrices that you have in your calculator. If they have nothing beside them over here, they have no dimensions. Otherwise, this is the dimensions that are currently on it. Okay. Over here is math, which is the tools we will use later. But ultimately, arrow over to edit, so the far right one, and then you can pick your favorite matrix. Whatever one you're feeling. I'm going to choose matrix A. My guess is yours doesn't already say 3 by 3. Yours probably says like 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 or something like that if you haven't ever done this before. So you're going to hit 3, enter, 3, enter. And so that's going to give you the 3 by 3 matrix. And then in each spot, it's going to go left to right, and then it's going to drop down to the next row and go across. You're going to type in these numbers that are in there. So every time you hit one, you have to hit enter. And when you do the negative, like 1.8, make sure you use this negative button at the bottom of your calculator, not the minus sign. It's going to give you an error if you use the minus sign. Use this negative at the bottom.
Can you scoot your calculator a little bit?
Yeah.
That 4.5. 45.
Huh?
Top right.
It's 4.5. It's because there's light on. I have the light on so you can see the calculator. So it's like putting a glare on it.
How do you do like the outside?
Huh?
We haven't gotten there yet.
We're not there yet.
Huh? Cumulatives. That's probably what
It does.
Is that your calculator?
Yeah, my mom made me get one. Because she said I would break it.
That's pretty cool.
It was like $120. I get them some
Off code.
All right, now when you put in a matrix, I would always go back and make sure you typed everything in correctly just to verify that you did it right, because it'd be really irritating if you had typed that in as 45 and it was actually 4.5, because it will completely throw your answer off. But hit second, quit. We're going to get out of that for a second. So now we need to do scalar multiplication. So I'm going to do negative 2.2. And then hit second matrix. And now this is where the names part comes into play. So edit is where we can change what's in the matrix. The names is when we're going to call it. So matrix A is where I typed mine in. So I select matrix A. So on the calculator, it comes up to look like that. And so if you do something on your calculator, you need to show me how it's written on your calculator so that I know, hey, you put it in your calculator. That's why it looks like that. And then just hit enter. And it gives you out a
Whoa.
lovely matrix. And you're going to notice it doesn't all fit. So if you arrow to the right, it will show you the rest.
That's super duper duper cool.
Mine did.
So then
You get it. You're rich.
Not rich. This was like $100.
No, it
It was a discount. I got a discount.
Why?
Because it was discounted on my rate.
You got his coat because he's rich.
Thought your dad went to Dubai.
That's his business. So that's supposed to be good.
Your dad owns a business.
all
He
right.
doesn't own a business.
Now, this one probably isn't going to work because of the decimals that's given. But if we had done this with the 1/2 one, for example, and let's say these numbers weren't basically all even, if you hit math and then this button that says I'm going to say dart frac because that's what my teacher always said, but it's a little arrow and then it says frac. You hit enter. It will change things into, oh, it did it. It'll change them into fractions for you. And it'll do that for anything, not just for a matrix. Like, if you have a decimal that can be written as a fraction, it will do that.
Oh, it did it.
Wait, how do you do it?
Hit math,
It did it. It did it.
and then dart frac.
Dart.
And if you had the fractions and you're like, oh, I wanted decimals because maybe it produced it in a fraction for you, hit math, dart decimal, and back to decimals it goes.
That's so cool.
That's cool.
I know we're smarter than calculators.
Okay.
I know we're smarter than calculators.
Hey, I'm just saying, go calculators. God built calculators. Okay.
Even simple calculators, so like,
We built everything on this.
All right, the next problems we are going to use our calculator for again, so just hold it to the side for a second. So the next problems, 16 through 23, give you 4 matrices that we're going to be using to solve all of those problems. Okay, so I would say write them down once when you get to that section of problems and don't write them down again because you're going to get irritated writing them down every time. So for 16 through 23, whoops, if I can get my pen out. We're going to use our calculator, and you don't need to write them down, like I said, every time you do it. So matrix A is a 2 by 2, 5, -4, 3, -1. Matrix B is a 2 by 2, 18, -12, -6, and 0. Matrix C is a 2 by 3, 1.8, -1.5, 10.6, -8.8, 3.4, and 0. And matrix D is 7.2, 0, -5.4, 2.1, -1.9, and 3.3. And so then the problems like, say, number 18, say 4a minus b. And so as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if you do this with your calculator. So what you're going to do is when you go to do these problems, I don't know how many of them I'm assigning to you. 2 of them are getting assigned to you. So what I would do is, honestly, if you go type them in now, like all 4 of them, which we're only going to do this one, but if you type them in, then you don't really need to worry about typing them in again when you do the problems because they'll already be there for you. So I'm going to type in matrix A and matrix B into A and B. So we're going to hit second matrix. Remember, we're on edit. The number of times that I've hit the name of it when I've been trying to edit it just gets annoying. So you're going to change it to a 2 by 2. And the beauty of your calculator is, let's say that you thought with, say, matrix D that it was a 3 by 2. When you type that in, you're going to quickly realize it was not a 3 by 2 and it was actually a 2 by 3. So your calculator, by you typing it in, will show you what it's supposed to look like. So just type them in again. So 5, -4, 3, -1. And then once you have that matrix in, you'll have to second quit and then second matrix again to do matrix B. And then edit matrix B. It's a 2 by 2. 18, -12, -6, and 0. Then second quit. And now, with one step, we can type this in our calculator. So you'll hit 4, second matrix. We're using the name option now. So matrix A, minus, and this is actually the minus sign, not the negative now. Second matrix B. So it should look like that on your calculator. Hit enter, and it does it all for you. So my solution would be 2, -4, 18, and -4. And, like, I don't care if you write them down again when you actually do your, like, when you're doing your homework. If you just get them out of the book, that's totally fine. You don't really need to write them on your paper unless you just want it for reference.
Oh,
Any questions about how to do any of this or calculator issues at the moment?
I actually can just like write my calculator for what?
All right, the next ones are to solve matrix equations. So these ones, you have a matrix equal to another matrix, and we're solving for x and y. So 24, we have the matrix, 2 by 2 matrix, -1, 3x, -4, and 5 is equal to the matrix -1, -18, 2y, and 5. And so what you should notice about this is that my first position in both of them is -1. They're equal matrices, so they are equal. My bottom right ones in both are 5, and so those are equal. So what does that tell you about the top right and the bottom left? What should be happening? If my top lefts are equal, my bottom rights are equal, what should be true about my top rights? They should be equal. So basic algebra, 3x equals -18, x equals
6.
-6. And then the y's, we have 2y is equal to -4. So y is equal to -2. And so that's all you have to do for those ones. Now, something like 26, it's the same principle, but it's going to look a little bit different. And this will be our last one. 2 times the 2 by 2 matrix, 8, -x, 5, and 6, minus the 2 by 2 matrix, 3, -9, 10, and -4y, is equal to the 2 by 2 matrix, 13, 4, 0, and 16.
I got it. Hey, I got it. You got it? Yeah.
Go for it.
So do. Wait. Yeah. Is it just the same thing? It's just -4y. Or do you have to do the math first?
Well, so I have multiple matrices on this side now. So I need to get this all in one to set it equal to this one.
Times 2.
So I need to multiply this one times 2 and get that, and then I need to combine these two together. So 16, -2x, 10, and 12. And then minus, and I'm not going to rewrite this other matrix all the way down until I get to the end, then I'll rewrite it. So in this step, I'm just going to, save some writing and just bring it down. So now I need to combine these. I'm trying to focus, this gets getting blurry. Obviously, if I have a variable, I can't just be like, oh, -9 and 2x is -11x or whatever. Like, obviously, that still doesn't work. Like it doesn't in regular math. So that term is going to end up getting written as -9 minus 2x or vice versa. So 16 minus 3 is 13. Now, -2x minus a -9 is going to be +9. So -2x plus 9. Then 10 minus 10 is 0. And then 12 minus -4y is going to be 12 plus 4y. And now we set this equal to the other one. And then we just have negative 2x plus 9 is equal to 4. And 12 plus 4y is equal to 16. And then you would just solve them. So negative 2x is equal to negative 5. So x is equal to 5/2. And then over here, 4y is equal to 4. So y is equal to 1. And so that's all you have to do. All right, any questions about that? Now, I'm going to tell you the next section is confusing. Okay, so make sure you do the notes for that.
No.
It's probably actually not that many notes, but make sure you do those, please. The problems that go with this section are 5, 8, 11, 17, 21, and 25. 17 and 21 are the only ones that should be done on your calculator. The other ones should all be done by hand.